Today we're at a sugar shack outside of Goshen, Vermont. Here at the Republic of Vermont, they take the sap from maple trees and turn it into the delicious maple syrup that hits your table. We are going to be tapping some trees, collecting sap, and boiling it down to syrup to see how modern syrup makers take those maple trees in their backyard and put them on your pancakes.
My name is Ethan West. I run Republic of Vermont with my wife Anina and our two little babies. My son is obsessed with syrup. It's one of his first words, "Ma papa." We built this facility. We built the sugar house. My friend and I built it with some help from the family in 2015. Traditionally, you'll see buckets hanging on trees to collect sap. That works fine. We just have a more efficient system at a commercial scale where we run plastic tubing through the woods, food-grade tubing.
For this particular sugar bush, there are 1,500 or 2,000 trees. All together, we tap 7,000 trees. We're collecting that at every tree from just this one little spout. So from each tree, you only take just a little bit of sap. And ideally, you're drilling a hole. If there's one here, you're drilling it down 2 inches and over 2 inches so that you're not drilling all the holes on one side of the tree and eventually damaging it. So you want to slowly circle around it so that by the time you get back to the front, it's pretty much healed up. And so this one hole is taking just a little bit of sap and collecting it with all the rest of the trees that are hooked up to these lines. This big one here is a sap line. What connects to this big line are these smaller lines called main lines. These are all numbered and have pressure gauges on them. Off of each of these main lines come multiple lateral lines, and each of these lateral lines connect to the tree. And these black lines here, or at least this one, is the vacuum line. So that's where the air pressure runs up and pressurizes from the sugar house and pressurizes the hole. The sap is running down this because there's a vacuum pump at the sugar house, a vacuum that's pulling all of the sap downwards, downhill.
It allows the sap to move from smaller tubes from the tree down to bigger main lines, and then the main lines run down to our holding tanks. We have about 12,000 gallons worth of storage. 12,000 gallons would be about 200 gallons of syrup, roughly. From our holding tanks, it runs through a reverse osmosis system, which basically is a set of filters that takes the sugar content from 2% up to about 16%. At that point, it enters the evaporator where we heat it under a lot of heat, and it caramelizes and gets the really nice flavor. We burn these high heat wood pellets. They're soft wood. They burn really, really hot, really, really fast. And we have about 10 tons of them in a silo out back, and they're fed in through this giant PVC pipe with an auger. And then we fill this small bin, and then a second auger is set to carry the pellets right into the firebox. So it feeds into the evaporator at 16% sugar, and it basically winds its way through a series of channels in the evaporator. And as it moves through the evaporator, it condenses and gets more and more sugary. More water is brought out in the form of steam. And it finally arrives here as syrup. We mix in some diatomaceous earth to help filter the syrup. So the diatomaceous earth basically binds with the impurities that are causing the syrup to look cloudy, and pressure pushes it through the filter press, and there's a series of papers where the diatomaceous earth and the impurities are left behind, leaving us with a crystal clear product. We put it in large stainless barrels. It's a shelf-stable product at that point. We're able to store it indefinitely, and throughout the year we bottle it into our glass bottles.
So that is exactly how you turn maple sap into maple syrup. It's great on pancakes and drinks, on dessert. Once you try the real stuff, you'll never go back.